Hey everybody, and welcome to the fourth review for Arrow Season 1, which is titled An Innocent Man, which I suppose will go off that title, which leads into the main plot. What was your first thought, what was your impressions of the main plot in this episode?
It once again reminded me of Medium, just because, the plot is very similar to a lot of episodes in Medium, how either, in Medium, she's always either proving someone did do something when they're clearly innocent, or proving they didn't do it when they're clearly guilty. Like, here, everyone agreed that the guy killed his wife, but Laurel had to prove that he didn't.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The main plot for this episode is probably the weakest point of this episode. Basically, the main plot itself just revolves around Laurel, who once again is just flip-flopping. She starts the episode annoying, then she's actually good for a while, then she finishes the episode annoying.
Well, not really. I think it was interesting that, when she spoke to Oliver at the start, she said he's selfish and he doesn't care about other people. But then when she was talking to her friend about the hood, she said the opposite. She said he cares about other people and that's what makes him a good person. And yet they're the same person. What you call flip-flopping, though, is just her she did change her mind at the end of the episode when she spoke to her dad, and that's because, the guy was attacking her in the prison, so, of course, Oliver jumped in and, started attacking the guy. But the thing is, he kept hitting the guy more than he needed to, and Laurel had to tell him to stop. And that's why she changed her mind about him, because if she hadn't stopped him, he would have killed the guy. And I guess now she thinks he's dangerous because I guess she thinks he doesn't feel guilty for killing people. He's fine with it.
Yeah, that's basically the entire character arc for Season 1 is Oliver learning to have a bit more of a moral compass when he goes about doing this.
Yeah, and that's where the island flashbacks tie in, because the flashbacks in this episode were all about his first kill. He had to kill a bird to survive. And I guess Yao Fei was trying to teach him that, the bird's not the last thing you're going to kill, telling him that you're going to have to just get used to killing. So now he's stuck in that mindset, and he has to reverse that process and get out of it to become a good person. He has to stop feeling like he can just kill anything and anyone.
Yeah, the flashbacks very much... They usually like to have the flashback parallel the main plot, and in this one it really did. The flashback basically shows the beginning of Oliver learning to stop being so sensitive. And then I think this is the first time where Oliver's really realised he has to be a bit more careful about how he goes about these things.
It's almost like he heard what Laurel said to her father.
Well,
How did he?
We all know Oliver Secret has super hearing. He always does. He can hear everything Laurel says. But yeah, that's the thing with this. This is definitely the first time. Ironically, one of the other moral compasses for Oliver not killing is not in this episode. Did you even notice? This is the first episode without Tommy.
Yeah.
That's how forgettable he is. You don't notice when he's not there. And thank goodness too, because he's nothing but drama. But getting back to the episode itself...
Well, I think Laurel is important because she's always been a driving force to him. On the island, her picture was what made him want to survive, and so that he could get back to her. And now, everything she says impacts how he acts. Like we said, he clearly heard what she said to her dad, and that's what's making him want to change and be better.
Yeah, Oliver tends to go through a few characters who are his moral compass. For this first season, it's definitely Laurel. They later switch it to another character when they realize Laurel's annoying, but for now we're with Laurel. I wonder when the writers decided truly they wanted to switch that role to certain someone else who was in this episode. But I suppose that leads into the other side plot. This episode had about 4 side plots. And this episode, I'd say that's the thing about this episode is every plot except the main plot is more interesting.
Yeah.
Which I suppose will move on to the other side plot, getting into a character who was in this episode, is the side plot with Walter. Because honestly, this is the first time we've actually cared about what he's doing and something's happened.
Yeah. It's all because he noticed that Moira took money from the company for something he doesn't know about, and he had to investigate that. And of all people, he called in Felicity to help him investigate, which I'm happy with.
Yeah, it gave us a bit more Felicity, and it just gave us a better look into his personality, because he's not really had much to do in the past 3 episodes, so I guess this is nice. But, I mean, and it leads into one of the... I'd say there's about 2 or 3 main cliffhangers in this episode, and that's the first one, with the discovery that Walter finally makes at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Which, again, 4 episodes in, and 3 out of 4 have had a cliffhanger with Moira being suspicious, both with the boat and her meeting with somebody who knows about the list. Because up until now, we've assumed it was just Oliver's dad's list.
Yeah. But clearly he shared that list with Moira and this other person we've just seen for the first time.
And, well, I suppose the best plot of this episode, which is the one they didn't go on much about, was also the Diggle plot. Again, we finally get more screen time for Diggle. First, it seems it's a bit on and off, but it's really interesting watching his process coming around and seeing him talk.
But as a whole, I think the episode did okay to keep my interest. I'm not sure. I think I'd give it a 7 because it's not the best, but it does its job. It keeps my interest enough. There are a lot of side plots to follow though, so some people might not like that, but it's okay.
I mean, that's something you got to get used to because you're always going to have a main plot, a flashback plot, and then you might have another 1 or 2 plots about character development. But honestly, the best plot of this episode is Diggle. We get to see Diggle's reaction to Oliver. Then we get to see him talking with his sister-in-law about his brother and then what's going on. And then him finally deciding what he wants to do with his life since he's bored of being in the war. He's bored of being just protecting people. He wants to actually do something. And this episode, another key part of this episode is Oliver finally realizing he needs allies. Both Diggle and Laurel, in a sense, was an ally in this episode.
Yeah, even if she doesn't know who he is, she started to meet with him and help him take down people.
Yeah, as well as continuing the very minor plot of Oliver's rival with the police, which finally starts to pick up, which will obviously happen next episode. But getting back to the rating, I was only going to give it a 6. Maybe a 7, but probably a 6, because the main plot, which is the part they focus on the most, should always be the best part of the episode. It's the worst part of the episode. The main plot itself was the most boring. It's all the side plots that you just want more of.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to go for 6. But then I thought I might go up to 7. I'm still not sure.
That's the thing about this show is a lot of times, especially in the early season, is the main plot just exists so we have a set piece for side plots to move around.
Yeah, I guess that's okay, but I don't know if that's not really a good thing, is it?
But so I still say episode 3 is probably my favourite so far, although by memory I remember liking episode 5 most, or at least a lot, so we'll see about episode 5 soon. So I guess we'll see about episode 5 soon, which is called Damaged, so we'll see you soon for that. I've said soon too many times.
Yep. See you next time.
You mean see you soon?
Yeah.